hey, here's every manga that I own, and I'm gonna talk about them. So we'll start off with Dragon Ball over here. I got Dragon Ball in these 3-in-1 kind of deals, and then Z I have in the singles. And that just kind of doesn't sit right with me, you know? It doesn't feel natural. It's not the way nature intended it. And so I wish that I had just the singles for the whole series, but these 3-in-1s were a lot cheaper, so that's what I went with. But it kind of, you know, they kind of did me dirty in the end, because these 3-in-1s are also like, they're like crusty, and the pages come like pre-yellowed. Like, these are the fastest yellowing pages I've ever seen. It's like they have some dude in the back of the bookstore whose job it is to like sneeze on all the 3-in-1 Dragon Balls so it'll deter people from buying the cheaper editions or something. Dragon Ball Z holds a special place in my heart because it was the first manga I've ever read. I've talked before about how when I was in college, that Dragon Ball FighterZ game was coming out, and it just looked really cool, but I knew nothing about Dragon Ball, so I was like, oh man, I gotta get into Dragon Ball now so that I can play this cool game. So I went to the library and they had Dragon Ball Z, and I checked it out, and I read this whole thing in a week, and it got me into manga. As much as I love Dragon Ball Z, I love the original Dragon Ball even more, because this series was so good. I read it for the first time last year, which I'm beating myself up that I didn't read it before I read Dragon Ball Z the first time, because I was back in college. I was like, oh man, you know, I don't want to read about Goku as a kid collecting Dragon Balls. That sounds lame. But no, this wasn't lame. I was dumb. I was a dumb person, because Dragon Ball slaps. It's hilarious. It's fun. It's all the positive, joyful, happy things all rolled into one series. You should go read it. If you've read Dragon Ball Z and haven't read the original Dragon Ball, you're making a grave mistake, my friend. I'm gonna come to your house. I'm gonna stage an intervention. Me and your friends and your grandma are all gonna sit around you in a circle and tell you to read Dragon Ball. So you better get on it right now. Next up, I got Naruto. So even though Dragon Ball Z was my first ever manga and I liked it a lot, I didn't really read any battle shonen for years after I started reading manga. I immediately went from Dragon Ball Z to stuff like Evangelion and Tsutomu Nihei's stuff and Boku Ranu, and then Tokyo Ghoul was in there somewhere. What else? Oh, Doubt. That was one of the first manga I ever read. And yeah, so I didn't really read any shonen. It was because, like I said, I was in college and I was all, ooh, look at me, I'm sophisticated, I'm too mature to read these shonen manga. And that was dumb too. I shouldn't have been like that. And I kind of put myself off of reading a bunch of great series. You've probably read Naruto already, but if you haven't, it's really good. Go check it out. If you want to hear more of my thoughts on it, I talk about Naruto in pretty much every one of my reading log videos I've done, because it took me like a year to get through this series, and it was like every month there I was talking about Naruto every video, so my Naruto feelings are pretty well documented, I'd say. So, but yeah, I was a bit disappointed that I liked it too. When I first started reading it, I was like, dang it, Naruto's really good. Now I have to buy it. Oh no, and it's gonna take up 72 volumes worth of space on my shelf. Oh no, why is Naruto good? But you know, it deserves it. I'm fine with having this. Next is Bleach. When I first got into manga, everybody hated Bleach. It was one of the most disrespected shonen of all time. People were talking about Bleach like it was the 1998 Godzilla with Matthew Broderick. Like, no one was saying anything good about it. And so I was like, oh man, I guess Bleach is lame. I'm not going to read that. But then the curiosity got the best of me, and I dove in, and Bleach was awesome, because it's Bleach, and it's great. And like all these other things I've talked about, you should read it if you haven't. It's really good. And thankfully, it has a better reputation these days, because I think the new anime, people are liking that, and new fans are coming in and being like, hey, Bleach isn't terrible, so I'm thankful for that. One Piece. So One Piece, it's really good. Everyone loves it for a reason. It's a classic. Oh man, I feel like I just keep saying stuff for every series like, it's great, it's awesome, go read it. And you can tell by now that I don't script these videos, right? Just whatever's off the top of my head, that's what you get. But hopefully I can figure out some more substantive stuff to say as we go along here. But yeah, One Piece, I think it has its ups and downs, to be honest. There's arcs that are the best arcs in all of Shonen, and then there's arcs that aren't. Like, you know, it has some stinker arcs in it, to be honest, but the arc, when it's good, it's good. It is, oh my goodness, One Piece gets really good. And this is the only one of the big three that I haven't finished yet. I'm around volume, I'm at volume 61 right here. So yeah, I'm only at volume 61, so I'm saving it because this isn't gonna end anytime soon. I'm like, I might as well have some One Piece stacked up for the future at all times. Yeah. Next is Yu Yu Hakusho, Hakusho, right? We aren't hawking shoes, or are we? I'll have to read the series to find out, because I haven't read this yet. I feel a little bad about that. I feel like I'm being disrespectful, because this is a shonen classic and I haven't read it. But to be fair, I have a good reason to, because this wasn't even, like, in stock anywhere until earlier this year, I think. I looked everywhere for this series, and it was hidden from us. It was nowhere to be found, but it's back in stock now, I think. At least it was when I bought it all earlier this year, so I'll get on it soon. But I have read Hunter x Hunter, and I like Hunter x Hunter a lot, so I'm fairly certain that I'll like Yu Yu Hakusho when I get to it. But yeah, Hunter x Hunter, I'm missing that newest volume that just came out, which feels surreal to say, because I didn't think there were going to be any more volumes of this coming out, because I got caught up to it, I remember, and then there was a 3-year wait between chapters, and in that wait, I was like, you know, I think it's done. I don't think this is coming back, but it did, which I'm thankful for. So hopefully we get a lot more cool stuff from this series. I'm struggling with this newest arc, though. Like, I feel like you need a PhD to understand everything that's going on, because there's just so many characters and so many powers, and I don't know, it's a whole lot of stuff. But yeah, someday I'll get my doctorate in Hunter x Hunter and understand this new arc enough to get the newest volume. Next is Rurouni Kenshin. So I buy most of my manga used, but these volumes are like extraordinarily used. Like, they're so like disgusting and yellow, and you pick them up and they just don't feel right in your hands, you know. But yeah, that's okay. This is a series where it's probably good that I bought it used, because the author of this is a person that you want to buy your manga used from. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say here. But this is another one. I hear it's a classic, but I haven't read it, so I got to get on that. Continuing the stretch of classic manga that I haven't read yet, here's Slam Dunk. But I have a good reason that I haven't read this one too, because for the longest time, let me see if I can remember the volumes 5, 19, 29, and 31 were out of stock. They were out of stock for like 2 years, and I had this whole series up here except for those 4 volumes, and I read the beginning of it and it was really good, but I couldn't get past volume 5 because I didn't have it, so I was like, dang it, he's gotta come back soon, right? And it was 2 years, I think. It was insane, but I got the whole thing now, so I gotta buckle down and read it. I'm just thankful that those 4 volumes came back, because, you know, after year 1 of waiting for them, I thought it was never gonna happen, but it's all here. The gang's all here. I gotta read Slam Dunk now. Gintama, I haven't read these either, but Gintama is my favorite anime. At least it will be if it sticks the landing. I still have like 30 more episodes left that I gotta watch. Alright, I've been watching this show on and off for like almost 4 years now, and I still haven't finished it. But it's because it's so good, and I want to savor it, you know? I don't want it to end. And it's also like 367 episodes, so it's not hard to savor it when it's that long. But yeah, Gintama, I'm sure the manga's good, even though I haven't read it, because the anime is one of the greatest things ever made in all of human history. So yeah, here's Reborn. Reborn is also awesome. If you can find these volumes anywhere, pick them up, because they're hard to find and they're really good. I feel like I'm being too positive this video. I feel like I'm being too optimistic, and it's rubbing me the wrong way. I'm like, I just want to say some negative stuff about something. That's hard to do because I like all these manga I own, and I don't know, but yeah, okay. Just know that I don't love every single thing ever invented, ever. It's just that we're going through a bunch of my favorite series, one after the other. But yeah, Reborn is pretty underrated because, I mean, these volumes are super out of print, and it doesn't even cover the whole series. It stops at volume 16 when there's 42 in Japan. But yeah, Reborn, it's hilarious. It's a comedy series that turns into a battle series, and it does both of those things really, really well. I love it. I gotta finish it. I'm reading it. I have to read the rest of it online because, you know, it doesn't exist in physical volumes in English. So yeah, I'm reading it online. It's really good. Like I said, these are super rare volumes, so if you find them anywhere for a good price, go pick them up. It'll be worth it. Zombie Powder. This is by the Bleach guy. I haven't read it yet. I also haven't read Bakuman, but I got my prerequisite homework out of the way for this series. And what I mean by that is that I heard that Bakuman spoils the ending of Ashita no Joe, which is a series I really wanted to read. So I made it a point of being like, okay, before I can read Bakuman, I gotta read that one. And I did, and I'm glad I did, because Ashita no Joe is like a top 10 manga I've ever read in my life. So thank you, Bakuman, for spoiling the ending of this so that I had to go read it. So yeah, okay, I can read Bakuman now, but who knows when that'll be. Sometime soon, hopefully. Hopefully soon. One Punch Man. My friend actually gave me the first 8 volumes of this for free, so that was really cool. Shout out to him. And then I conveniently found the last batch of these I needed at a used bookstore a couple days ago, actually. I got these volumes here where they make the cool spine of Saitama punching you in the face. So yeah, I think I have all the volumes now, which is really neat. I'm not caught up by any means. I'm probably still around, like, I don't know, volume 12 or something. But the series is also going to go on forever, so I'm not in any hurry to get caught. But My Hero Academia isn't going to go on forever, because this is ending pretty soon, right? That's what I heard, at least. So when this ends, I'll probably dive into it. I've read the first couple volumes just to get a taste before I bought that box set, you know? Because I didn't want to, you know, I didn't want to blow all my money on a box set for something that I didn't know if I was going to like or not. And you could tell I bought the box set because I got the skinny little volumes here. But yeah, I liked what I read of this. It's pretty good. I know it gets a lot of hate because it's popular and stuff. And maybe it'll be terrible as it goes on, who knows. But right now I'm really liking it. I'm excited for it to end so that I can, you know, read the whole thing in one go. Jujutsu Kaisen, I'm kind of in the same boat as with My Hero Academia. I read the first few volumes to make sure that it wasn't terrible. And now, since I heard it's ending semi-soon, I'm going to wait for it to end and then read the whole thing. I have read all of these Chainsaw Man volumes. And I'm glad I did, because Chainsaw Man is wonderful. I remember pre-ordering the first volume of Chainsaw Man just out of curiosity. I was like, a man who's also a chainsaw? That sounds intriguing. I'm going to try that out. And I did not expect it to turn into one of my favorite manga ever, but here it is. It's wonderful. I feel like even if it ended at volume 11 where part 1 ends, it would still be one of my favorite manga of all time. But no, it just keeps going and being just as great the whole way through. And I'm thankful that we're going to keep getting more Chainsaw Man for the foreseeable future. I also really love these Tatsuki Fujimoto short stories, like an unreasonable amount. Like, I had such a great time reading these, and I think most people didn't, but yeah, I love this. I love these more than I love a lot of other complete series, which is crazy. It's crazy, but they're really good. Kaiju number 8, I haven't read that yet, but it has old people fighting giant monsters, right? So that sounds fun. And Burn the Witch I also haven't read. Nana, I haven't read this yet, and this is probably the blindest purchase I've ever made. All I know about this series is that it's supposed to be really good, and it's about two people named Nana. But that was intriguing enough. I was like, why are there two Nanas? I need to know. So yeah, I started the first volume, and there's a lot of words by manga standards, so I'm holding it off for when I'm in a more wordy mood. But I mean, it was good from what I read. I'm sure it will be good. I hope I like it, because if not, then I'd waste a lot of money on this. But yeah, I'm holding out hope that it's good. And this was like super out of print, so as soon as it came back in print, I was like, oh yeah, I'm getting Nana. I need to know why there are two Nanas, and nothing will stop me. A Silent Voice. This is another one of my all-time favorite manga. This one's just incredibly emotional. The most emotional manga I've ever read. There's scenes from this that I still think about, and I'm like, dang, that was a sad scene, wasn't it? Like, I'll just be sitting there like in the fast food line, and then I'll remember something from this manga, and it'll just like ruin my day. So you should read it. It's really good, guys. Go check it out. But yeah, Silent Voice. Then there's Ajin. Red of Ajin has been pretty cool, and it also has really colorful covers. So even if the rest of the series is trash, I'll still like that the covers are colorful, I guess. But I'm sure it'll be good. It has like monsters and dudes punching each other in it, and that's really all I need to be satisfied. So yeah, I got to read the rest of this. Why haven't I read the rest of this? On the Tracks. This is by Shuzo Oshimi, possibly my favorite manga creator. I don't think he's written any bad manga. A lot of people will disagree with me on that and be like, what about Sweet Poolside and Avant-Garde Yumiko and Drifting Net Cafe? And I'm like, yo, guys, those were all bangers. This man doesn't miss. But yeah, Blood on the Tracks, this is kind of his most known work. This one's about a relationship between a boy and his mother. And if you want to find out why that's interesting and why this series is so good, I recommend you just read the first volume and find out, because there's like a big twist at the end of volume 1 here that it's best to not have spoiled when you go into it. But Blood on the Tracks, I feel like they kind of double bamboozled me with this one, where it seemed like it was wrapping up, and then the author came out and was like, actually, the 13 volumes that have come out so far, those are just the prologue, and the series is going to go on for a super long time now. So I was like, oh dang, they really got me, because I thought this was going to end soon. And then, like a year after he said that, they ended the series, and I was like, wait, so it's not going on for a super long time now? I don't know. Yeah, I just don't know what to believe anymore. After the Rain, this is the best series that I can never recommend to anybody. Not because it's bad or that there's anything creepy in it, but it sounds like there is. Okay, let me tell you. The plot, it's about a teenage girl who's in love with a middle-aged man. Yeah, that's the plot. And I can swear up and down that nothing creepy happens in here. It's actually pretty wholesome. It's actually really deep, guys. It's a really good story. But you don't believe me, see what I mean? I wouldn't believe me either. I'd be like, who is this weirdo trying to get me to read this weird age gap tomfoolery right here? I'm unsubscribing, I'm unhitting the notification bell, reporting the video. But yeah, I mean, yeah, what could I say? The series is really good. It has a weird premise, but it's you're just gonna have to trust me. You should go check it out if you're if you like good things. Opossums, I haven't read this, but it's Tsutomu Nihei, so I'm sure it's good. Tropic of the Sea, I haven't read, and everybody says it's terrible. I've never seen anybody say that they like this manga, but oh well. It's Satoshi Kon, I don't know how to say his name, but I really like him, so I'm like, you know what? I'll do it for you, Satoshi. I'll read this for you someday, even though everyone says it's not good. And then Voices of a Distant Star. This is a pretty solid one-shot about a very long-distance relationship The guy stays on Earth, and the woman like goes into space to fight the space monster aliens or something, and it was it was that kind of thing. What am I saying? That kind of thing. What other series is there like this? But yeah, if you're into long distance relationships and space monsters and all that stuff, maybe you'd like this. I got some Clamps. I got Angelic Layer and Wish. I don't know anything about Wish, but Angelic Layer sounds kind of cool. It's like robots fighting each other, right? And that sounds neat. So I want to read that pretty soon, actually. Then H.P. Lovecraft's At the Mountains of Madness. I read the actual book that this is based off of, but I haven't read this manga adaptation yet. And then Higurashi. I'm very thankful that this came back in stock and that I own the whole thing now, because this is one of my favorite anime ever, and I always heard that the manga was even better, and I really wanted the manga, and it was incredibly out of print, and people were selling it for like $3,000 online, which I wasn't gonna pay that kind of money for this. But thankfully it came back in stock. Now I have the whole thing. Since I've seen the whole anime, I haven't gotten around to reading the manga yet, except for the very last volume, which I read, since apparently it has some context that the anime didn't have that's really important. This is the only series that I've only read the last volume for, which is kind of weird, but hey, it is what it is. I haven't read Crimson Shell yet, but Oshinoko, oh boy. Oshinoko has one of the best first volumes of manga I've ever read. There was some craziness in here. This first volume. This was a wild ride, but yeah, Oshinoko, I'm not going to say anything much about it because I think this is one you got to go blind into, but I mean, it's one of the best gynecologist manga of all time. Go check it out. Here it is, my white whale. I will harpoon someone for this series. GTO The Early Years. So this series, what I've read of it, I've really loved, and then that just makes me very upset because this is the hardest series to come by that I've basically ever seen ever. So it's 15 volumes, and the first 5 volumes you can find them, you know, they're there. You can get them. They aren't going to be easy to find, but you can do it if you set your mind to it. Volumes 8 through 10, though, I haven't seen them for less than $400 a volume online. And that is like, no. So yeah, I'm mad that this series is impossible to find anywhere. And it's even worse because, okay, for a series this out of print, I'm fine with just reading the scans online, but I tried with this one, and you can't find like the official translation anywhere online, and the scans are so bad. Like, it's Google Translate level unreadable. I'd basically almost rather just not read it at all than read it that way. So, but I don't know. I'd rather do that than pay $400 a volume. So someday I might just give up and read the scans for the middle part of the series, but I'm hoping that some miracle will happen and this will get reprinted, but I'm not counting on it. Then I have most of GTO. This is another one that I love, so of course it's incredibly out of print. But unlike GTO The Early Years, this one's possible to get. You'll just have to get very lucky, which I have gotten very lucky with a lot of this. I found the first 10 volumes for $3 at a used bookstore, so that was great. And then up through volume 20 I found in like an eBay lot, so I picked those up from that for decent prices. But these last 5 volumes have been a pain. Volumes 21 through 25 here are the real tough ones to get. And I have found a couple of them online, and I have like 2 of them coming in, I think. So I'm waiting for those to get here, and that'll be great. One of them I had to order from Canada, I'm crossing national borders to get this manga, because that's just what GTO requires in order to collect the whole series. You gotta devote your heart to this, you know. You gotta give it your all if you want all of GTO. So I do believe that someday I'll get all of GTO. But GTO the early years, that's a whole other thing. If you know of any way to get any of these GTO the early years volumes, let me know. I'm willing to do a lot of stuff for them. I will. That would be greatly appreciated if you have some magical way that I could get volumes, you know, 8 through 11 and 15 of GTO the early years. I will be eternally grateful. More out of print stuff. Here's Battle Royale. I think this is 15 volumes, and yeah, the later ones I can't find for a price I'm willing to pay, so I only have 1 through 7. What I've read of this has been really good. I love the book that this is based off of. It's one of my favorite books. And then the movie this is based off of is one of my favorite movies. So this will probably be one of my favorite manga when I read it. It's just a really intense, high-octane story. I'm excited to read the whole thing when I can get a hold of it. And I have some Evangelion spin-off manga here. I have Angelic Days, which is like a romance spin-off of Evangelion, I think. And then there's Tony Takazaki's Evangelion. I think this is like a comedy one. I haven't read either of these yet, but I should, because I love Evangelion a lot, and I'll probably like these. And I also got the Death Note all-in-one edition. I've tried reading this. This is very impractical to read. I just feel like a silly goose trying to read out of this thing, but I mean, it's the whole series of Death Note, and I got it for $15 or so at a used bookstore. So, I mean, all of Death Note for $15. I'll take whatever edition I can find for that kind of price. All right, we're moving on to the tall volumes now. So I got my Naoki Urasawa's up here, Monster, 20th Century Boys, and Pluto. These are all really popular mystery manga, some of the best manga ever in my opinion. And 20th Century Boys, I said in my last collection video that this was my favorite manga ever. Now, I think my opinion's changed a little since then, but this is still top 5 for sure. These are all really good, all worth checking out. And then I got these 2 one-volume manga by him, Sneeze and Mujirushi over here too. I have the first 3 volumes of Vagabond here. I need to buy the rest of this because the series is really good, and also they make a really pretty picture on the spines when you buy all the volumes. So yeah, I need to get the rest of that. And then, thankfully, I actually have all of Real now. This was another one like Slam Dunk, where with this, volumes 2 and 3 were out of stock forever. And I was a little worried that those were never going to come back, and I was just going to have to read volume 1 and never read the rest. But they came back, thankfully. I got the whole series now, so I gotta check that out soon. And then I got some Pokemon volumes over here. Back when I was in middle school, I was addicted to Pokemon. I had the DS ones, and I caught all 493 at the time Pokemon that existed, and I did it without cheating or using the action replay or anything. It took me hundreds of hours. So I was straight up addicted to Pokemon. So I don't play the games anymore because I know that I just get like swallowed up into that again and never see the light of day. And so I'm hoping that maybe I can swap my Pokemon game addiction with reading the Pokemon manga instead. And that way I can kind of like ease off of it. These will be my Pokemon nicotine patches right here. And I hear the manga's really good. I know it's kind of dark and violent compared to the games, which is intriguing. So I'll check that out soon-ish, like a lot of the other series on here. Hopefully I'll get to them soon. Neon Genesis Evangelion. This was one of the first manga I ever read because I really liked the anime, which was one of the first anime that I ever watched. And yeah, this series, for the longest time, this was my favorite anime. And if the ending of Gintama ends up being terrible, it might be my favorite anime again, who knows. But Gintama's probably going to firmly have the #1 spot forever. But for the first few years I was into anime, this was my favorite anime of all time. It's a series that, you know, I still think about a lot, and it just has everything going for it. There's the deep characters, psychological stuff, robots fighting aliens. Like, what more can you want from a series, you know? This has everything. Oh, and I got these Evangelion Funko Pops here. I don't like Funko Pops that much, but I like Evangelion so much that, you know, my dislike of Funko Pops balanced out with my like of Evangelion, and these became neutral in my mind, so I have them. And now, Doro Hedoro down here. I'm currently reading this, hence why all the volumes are leaning like that. I just grabbed a stack out the middle, and I'm reading through those upstairs. This series has been really fun so far. It's very unique. There is nothing like this. It's simultaneously light-hearted and whimsical while also being incredibly violent and disturbing at the same time. There's really nothing like it. And speaking of nothing like it, here's Biomega. This has bears with guns in it, so you know it's quality. I got some Inio Asanos over here, Solanin, Goodnight Pun Pun. And then down here I got Dead Demons, Dead Destruction. The first 4 volumes of that. And so these, I've read Solanin, Goodnight Pun Pun. I mean, this guy gets talked about a lot on YouTube. None of these series are feel-good, bright, happy times, but sometimes you just want to feel bad, you know, and that's what this is for. Dead Demons I gotta get more into, because, I mean, I hear this is good, and, oh, this first volume was really boring, I'm not gonna lie. I did not like that, but I hear it gets better later on, so I'll keep reading. Tokyo Ghoul and Tokyo Ghoul Re. Like I said earlier, I read this back when I first got into manga, and I think it still holds up. If liking this series makes me an edgelord, then call me an edgelord, give me a Shadow the Hedgehog face tattoo. This series will always be solid in my mind, and I'm never going to change that. Although there's something wacky with this first box set I got. I got the 2 box sets of these, and the first one, all my volumes have this weird, like, grime on them. Like, look at the top of that. They just came like that. And I was thinking, I was like, man, did this box set come from the warehouse from Saw or something? Why are they all so dirty? I don't know. That was a little fishy. But anyway, next we got Beastars. I keep feeling like I've read Beastars, but I actually haven't. So moving on, here's Fire Punch. We got my Tatsuki Fujimoto section over here. Fire Punch is it's a crazy experience. The first chapter, there's cannibalism, and then it just keeps getting wilder from there. This is a zany, wild ride of a manga here. Then we got his 2 one-shots over here, Look Back and Goodbye Eri. These are both solid, but Goodbye Eri in particular is fantastic. I'd go as far as to say that if you've never read manga before, I don't know why you'd be watching this video if you haven't, but if for some reason you've never read manga and you want to try one out, I'd recommend this as your first manga, because it's 1 volume, it's very good, and it's something that can only be done in manga, I feel. So it'll take you like 15 minutes to read the whole thing. You can find it online for free on the Shonen Jump website or app or whatever. So yeah, go check that out if you haven't, because it's a good, quick read. Here's Hell's Paradise. I haven't read this either, and I want to read it soon. And I know that with every series I haven't read, I say I want to get to it soon, but this is the one I want to get to the soonest, because this really seems like my thing. It just, I hear it's a cool, fast-paced, people slicing each other up kind of series, and I'm here for that kind of thing. Oh, here we go. Now we got Alice in Borderland. Another one of my top 10 manga of all time. This is the most gripping manga I've ever read. I bought this first volume when it came out, and my plan was that I was going to read each of these volumes when they came out, right? But what happened was I read this first volume. It was so good, I went online and read the entire series that week. And I'm thankful I did, because that was almost 2 years ago at this point, and the series still isn't completely out yet in English, so yeah, I'm thankful I did that. I'm still buying them as they come out, though, because I'm certainly going to reread this, and I'm hoping that they come out with all the side stories and sequel series and stuff in English also, because I'll definitely pick those up if they do. Next is All You Need Is Kill and Not Simple. I haven't read those yet, but those look like really quick reads, so I should. Then Land of the Lustrous. This is a critical darling. I hear a lot of praise for this series. I read the first volume, and all of the characters kind of looked the same, and I had trouble telling who was who. And so I was too confused to move forward at the time, but I really liked everything else about it. So I'm gonna read the rest of it probably when we get a definite end date for the series, so that I can just binge the whole thing when the ending comes out. But yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that one. No Longer Human. I read the book of this a couple years ago, and I just read this manga version last week, I think. And yeah, it's a heavy read. It's a thought-provoking one. It's worth reading, but it's kind of like the Requiem for a Dream of manga, where it's tough to read multiple times, I'd say. Flowers of Evil is next. This is another crazy series. Can't really say anything about it before you check it out, because this is one where you want to go in blind and just experience the craziness for yourself. More Satoshi Kon's. Out of these, I've only read Opus, and it was pretty solid. It's a good, solid, quick read. It's famously not finished, but it kinda is. They found his notes on how it was gonna end, and so those are kind of thrown in there at the end, so that you don't feel like that you wasted your time reading something with no ending. So I think that worked out. Blade of the Immortal. I still haven't read this yet. What am I doing, guys? Why haven't I read Blade of the Immortal? I'm a little upset with myself, not gonna lie. Planetez. This is one that I haven't read, because all I hear about it is that it's really good, apparently, and that it's about space trash collectors. And I bought it because it's apparently really good, and it's only 2 volumes, but the whole being about space trash collectors, man, that has not inspired me to read it anytime soon. But I'm sure that when I will, I'll love it, and I'll be here. Watch me. Next manga collection I make, I'll be like, oh yeah, Planetez. It's awesome. It's about space trash collectors. You have to read it. Watch me. That's gonna happen. Memories of Eminon. This is my all-time favorite single volume manga. If you want something that you can just read in one night, this is it. This is just a vibe. It's about 2 people who meet and then they never see each other again. It's just about the one meeting that they spend together, and that's all I can say, really. And it did get a sequel series, but that never finished, so I don't have any of those. But this one volume, it's its own thing. You should go check it out. It's very good. Pandora Hearts. This was another risky blind buy on my part. I bought this because it came in a really cool box. that was a big reason. But then the series, it's supposed to be good, like all these series here. And the vibe seemed like my kind of thing. It was kind of an Alice in Wonderland vibe, kind of a Penguin Drum, if you've seen that anime kind of vibe. And I feel like I'll like it when I get to it. Next here's Azumanga. I remember when I first got into manga, I briefly picked this up at the library and was just scared away by the weebiness of it, kind of. But now that I'm a couple years deep into this hobby and I've become numb to that kind of thing, I think that this is pretty funny, honestly. I've enjoyed what I've read of it. And then, oh, here's another Higurashi volume that was too tall to fit with the other Higurashis, so it's over here. And then Judge, this is the, like, spiritual successor to the series Doubt with the rabbit people. And this is a death game series. I'm into death game stuff. If you aren't, you probably won't like this, but if you are, check it out. I remember this had a wild beginning. The beginning was wild in this. And speaking of wild, here's Toyo Game, which might be the wildest manga I've ever read. This is a death game, and this is like Jerry Springer the manga, basically, because it just gets crazier and crazier. And then this 3rd volume was, oh my goodness, I've never seen anything like it. There was just no restraint was given in this manga. It's not like the Citizen Kane of manga or anything. It's not the most polished, refined series you'll ever read. But if you want something wild, this is where you're gonna go. This is one of my friend's favorite manga, and since it was only one volume, I picked it up on her recommendation. Next is Kaiji. This is one of my favorite anime, and I'll read the manga once Denpa gets their act together and finally releases all 6 volumes of part 1 here. It has taken them so long to come out with these, and they keep pushing the dates back every month. I have trust issues now, thanks Denpa. But yeah, Kaiji, this series makes you feel alive. This is this man gambling because his life depends on it. And sometimes he wins, and sometimes he loses, and when he loses, he loses. Like, it's, whoo, there's like no plot armor in this. It's a wild ride. Yeah, this is, oh man, I'm just remembering stuff. It's all hitting me. Oh my goodness. Go read/watch Kaiji. Pez, I don't really know what this is or why I bought it. I think I was like half asleep and I was on Amazon, which is a bad combination. But yeah, it's really small, and Amazon kind of busted it up when they delivered it. But yeah, that's Pez. Aria the Masterpiece. This is the riskiest blind buy I've ever done. And I've done a lot of risky blind buys, so you know that this is something else. But yeah, so this is a slice of life series, and I hate those. I've never seen a slice of life that I really love, but it's also a sci-fi series, so I'm like, I like sci-fi. Maybe they'll balance out. But the reason I picked this up was totally because of fear of missing out. This is like a limited print run kind of deal that they did. So I was thinking, ooh, if I end up liking this, I'll never be able to own it again. So I bit the bullet and just bought the whole thing. And now they've reprinted it apparently, so I don't know how I feel about that. But yeah, hopefully I like it. I got 1 volume of Phoenix. This is famous for being one of the rarest manga ever. Full sets of this go for something like $2,000, maybe more than that. It's been a while since I checked, but I don't have that kind of money, so I have to, you know, just put up with having this 1 volume that I found randomly at a used bookstore for $3 or so. I feel like most people have 1 random volume of Phoenix, but no one has the complete set. That's just how life is, you know. That's life. Taiyo Matsumoto's number 5. I just picked this up last week, I think. I found the whole thing at a used bookstore for cheap. Then Ping Pong, I hear, is really good. I haven't read either of these. I don't know if Taiyo Matsumoto is my guy yet. I think I'm either gonna love him or hate him. There's gonna be no in between with that man and his work. Now, here's my light novels. I haven't read any light novels yet because I majored in English and that made me hate reading, but someday when I'm older and wiser and learn to love reading books again, I'll get into these. So first up is Boogie Pop. That's such a fun name, Boogie Pop. Huh. Next I have Decapitation, Strangulation, and Suspension, 3 of my favorite hobbies. Down here is Haruhi Suzumiya. It's one of my favorite anime ever, and it did that thing that anime do where they just don't end. And in order to know how it ends, you gotta read the light novels. But the light novels apparently aren't over yet either, so, you know, someday I'll read these to figure out what happened to Haruhi. Then I got The Empty Box and Zero with Maria. This one sounded cool. Oh, and then I got these Evangelion ones because I just really like Evangelion, and I gotta get all the Evangelion stuff, I guess. Full Metal Alchemist. I got all the swanky hardcovers of this because this is another one of my top 10 favorite manga ever. This is one I was skeptical on because it seemed like a basic shonen kind of thing. And to be fair, like, it kind of is, but it's the best of the basic shonen kind of things. And it's just executed perfectly. One of the best endings in all of manga. I love this series. And then down here, I got my Junji Ito. Here's Uzumaki, Venus in the Blind Spot, Remina, and Black Paradox. I haven't read all of these all the way through yet, but my favorite from here is the Amigara Fault short story that's in Venus in the Blind Spot. That's one of those stories that you'll just think about in the middle of the night, and it'll kind of leave you feeling a little creeped out, staring at your refrigerator light, thinking about mountains, It'll do that to you. All right, here's DRCL. This one has really good art. And then I got this random Yu-Gi-Oh hardcover that I found at a used bookstore. I don't really know what this is, but it looked interesting, so I bought it. Vinland Saga. This is yet another one where I've read the first volume to make sure that I liked it. And I did. I liked it a lot. And now I'm waiting for the series to end. And I hear it's going to end next year, probably. That's what I'm hearing. That's the estimate. So as soon as we get a date that this is ending, I'm going to dive in, and I'm excited because I hear a lot of hype behind this. My actual friends in real life have watched the anime of this and really like it. So that's how you know that, you know, when people I know in real life are actually into something, that's how you know that it's good. And then Parasite, I've seen the anime of this, and I'm getting these full color editions of the manga here, and once all those come out, I'll read the manga. Noise, this is more Tsutomu Nihei goodness. And then the first volume of Tower of God. This is pretty good. I don't know what they're gonna do release-wise for the rest of this series, because from what I understand, this is something like 60 volumes long, and it's still going, and it's gonna be like a One-Piece type of deal where it's just gonna go on forever. And they're releasing it in hardcover right now, and I can't imagine them releasing 70 hardcovers of this series, so I don't know what they're planning on doing. I don't know how far. I don't think they'll release anywhere close to the whole series in any format, to be honest, because I doubt these sold well enough. But, you know, I'll keep checking it out. It was pretty good. Now I got my Gundam The Origins down here. Gundam The Origin, famous for having the nicest spines in the manga game. Look at those spines. They're beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And then Summertime Rendering. I got the hardcovers of this, and they also look real nice. And then the erased hardcovers, they're also looking nice over here. Both of these series I've read, and they didn't blow me away. Like, they were good, but I didn't love them as much as most of the other series I own. But I'm keeping them around for now because they just look really nice on the shelf. You know, sometimes you just need something that looks nice. Blame. I read this years ago. I loved it, even though I don't really understand what happened towards the end there. If you just want some cyberpunk, dark craziness with amazing art, this is your guy right here. This is the guy. And I got these editions that are just super big. Got that big ol' art. Ooh, but these came a little damaged from Right Stuff. I'm still a little disappointed about that, since they're such nice editions otherwise, but it is what it is. Knights of Sidonia, I gotta get on this one too. I hear it's really good, and it's by the boys, so I bet it is good. And the Wolverine manga over here, you know, I had to get that. It's Wolverine and Tsutomu Nihei. That's just a match made in heaven. Attack on Titan. This one's pretty obscure. I bet you've never heard of it. You know, it's very underground, they say. But yeah, there's 2 more volumes of these colossal editions here that I need. I read the whole thing in these volumes, and these are kind of hard to read. Like, my back was hurting reading these because they're super heavy. These are the heaviest paperbacks I've ever seen in my life. But it was worth it because it's a good series. And Devilman, I watched the Netflix anime of this back when it came out, and that was something else. So when I'm ready for it, I'll dive into the manga. I got some more Clamps I haven't read, Clover and Chobits. I know Chobits is a classic, so I'm looking forward to that one. Here's Nausicaa, Ghost in the Shell, Battle Angel Alita, and Magic Knight Rayearth. This is my shelf of shame here, because these are really nice box sets of manga that are all supposed to be really good, and I've read none of them. Not a single word of any of these. And I'm disappointed in myself. I am. Akira, this is also a very nice box set, and it's a fantastic series. I talked about it in my top 10 manga I read in 2022 video. Here's Akira Toriyama's Manga Theater. I still gotta check that out. Dragon Ball, that's my jam. I gotta read this. And then I randomly have Rohan at the Louvre. I don't have any of the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure manga. nothing JoJo's Bizarre Adventure related except this one random Rohan volume. I might be the only person who only owns this and no other JoJo's stuff, but yeah, JoJo's, I like it a lot. It's just very long, so I'm not going to own the whole thing, but I think Rohan's a cool character, so I picked this up. Message to Adolf. This is supposed to be a classic, but it's also supposed to be complicated and dense, so when I'm in the mood for something like that, I'll dive in. But then Abara is not dense at all. This has like 3 words in the whole manga, and it's a very quick read, but it's Tsutomu Nihei. It has that amazing artwork, so it's worth checking out. And Hellsing here. Hellsing isn't the deepest thing ever, but it might have the most cool stuff per page ratio of any manga. Everybody in this is just so cool, and all the things that happen are cool, and it's just, oh man, it's about a vampire with guns. There's a Catholic priest who has like crossed swords. It's just it's some cool stuff. And finally, here's Berserk. You've heard about this one. A lot of people say it's the best manga ever, and it might be. I still haven't opened these last couple of volumes, but I've read the whole series before these deluxe editions came out. And yeah, like I've said before, this is an amazing series, but I wouldn't recommend it for everybody since it is incredibly dark and grotesque and disturbing. But if you can stomach that kind of stuff, this is one of the best experiences you'll have in any medium ever. It's very, very, very good. And then Nijigahara Holograph is over here in the corner too. So there it is. That's my manga collection. I can't believe you watched this entire super long video, but I really appreciate it. Thanks for sticking with me, looking at all these books with me here. I'm getting a little tired since I've been talking for so long, so I'm gonna go play that new Mario game that just came out. He turns into an elephant in it. It's wild. See ya.